Hello, Needham, and welcome to everyone's favorite show about Needham real estate. You are watching What's My House Worth? My name is Rob Tickton. This is Ryan McDonald. We are with Hawthorne Real Estate. We're a design build company. We're also realtors, and we're here today to deliver some October news. Ryan.
Yeah, let's talk about the month of October in the Needham real estate market, Rob, since we're here.
All right, that we will do. So let's take a look at the sales data and see what October is looking like. Usually a month that doesn't have too many sales, especially coming off of August and September, but nevertheless, that's a pretty good number, I would say. Ryan, wouldn't you?
I mean, it's strong top to bottom, Rob. We had 17 homes selling in the month of October versus 16 a year ago, so pretty consistent, but the sale prices are up. The average list price is 1.1 this month versus last year at this time it was under $1 million at $989. And our average sale price also over $1 million at 1.09. Last year we're at $966. So two spikes, Rob.
That's interesting though that 2 years ago for the month of October it was actually over $1 million. So it dipped down last October for whatever reason.
What happened last October?
A good $100,000 with a pretty good sample size.
Yeah, so we got to go to the archives and find out what the explanation was.
Either way, October is back to normal, so that's a good sign. In fact, the highest sales numbers we've seen for the month of October since doing the show.
Yep. Our percentages, I guess they're holding steady month to month, Rob, but they're not where we like them to be. We're selling at 98% of the list price, which is fine. Anything I think over 97 is good, but we're 95.4% of the original list price, and that it's been at the 95 mark for a couple months now.
Might be the new normal.
I don't like it. It's telling me that as sellers we're being a little aggressive in terms of our original list, which is just gonna you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not doing yourself any favors by positioning your house too high. But the correcting is going on. So we're selling at 98% of list. That means sellers and agents alike are reacting to maybe not getting their house moved in the initial week to 2 weeks that we like to see, and they're correcting the price. But that number is consistent from last month. It's also consistent from last year, which is surprising, and I'm sure we harped on that last year when we saw that, because that had to have been an anomaly.
I'm sure we did.
Price per square foot, $366. That's a good number.
Yeah, that's healthy.
It's healthy. In 40 days on market, I love to see the turns in that kind of 1 month. It's a little over a month, but still, that's pretty good.
Trailing 6 months, as I said, the month of October, not typically very high in terms of sales figures, and it's going to be that way for the next few months, Ryan. We're going to have to come up with some fun and enticing content.
Yeah, a lot of filler in our upcoming episodes, so stay tuned for that.
Right, so that trend definitely going down, but we'll probably even out here the next few months.
Yeah,
would be
but
my
it's not
guess.
a doom and gloom down.
No,
it's
it's a seasonal down.
Exactly, it's a seasonal down.
Right.
Especially when you look at the next slide.
Yeah, so let's do just that. The month of October, and it's right on pace with where it should be. Pretty good. I mean, it's ties for second, Ryan.
Right. I mean, we had the big one in 2013.
Who could forget?
Right. I think it probably had to do with the Red Sox winning the World Series that year in that month.
Yeah,
everyone wanted their closings in.
Yeah, definitely.
But 17 still, it's year over year, it's pretty good.
Alrighty, so there you go. We are all done with the graphs. Time to examine the houses that sold in the month of October on a case-by-case basis, starting with the lowest sales price and working our way up. Our first listing brings us to 302 Central Avenue. That's a number, you don't see too many sales in the fours.
No.
Right? I mean, and it's a small house. It's under 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, and I think the listing may have alluded to this, Rob, but this is your quintessential condo alternative.
Yes, it did mention that.
Okay, and then so it's a 2-bedroom. We don't see that many 2-bedroom single families. Number one, but if you're looking for a condo, and you're looking for condos in the fours, this is, or if you're looking to rent, this is a rental alternative. Because you're going to rent a house like this for what? I mean,
$2,500.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, if this is a purchase, I did a little bit of math on this, made some assumptions on interest rates and 20% down, et cetera. I mean, you're looking at being like $1,600 a month with your mortgage, your taxes, and your insurance, and that's a great alternative to renting. So
just need the down payment.
Yeah. So I mean, this is your classic. I don't want to rent. I don't want to live in a condo. This is a great buy.
Very good. There aren't too many of those that we come across either.
Yeah.
So that house sells for $460. Actually sold for $319,000 way back in 2002, Ryan. Kind of a higher visible location in the sense that it's right where Cedar bisects Central, right?
Yep.
So the tough corner right there.
Right.
A lot of action going on.
Right.
And it kind of bends, it curves a little
bendy.
bit. Yeah, it is bendy. Next listing is up a little bit of a ways. Take Webster and head over to Homestead Park. It brings us to our next listing. It sells for $649. That's a pretty good number for this, Ryan.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a land sale, Rob.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And it's on the corner of Webster, as you mentioned. Homestead Park is a nice street. It's not really a cut through, only because it has those two houses in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So it makes it sort of, it's like a deterrent to be a cut through.
Right.
Which I definitely like. But this one is on the market right now as pre-construction for $1,349. So Rob, that's a $700,000 spread between the purchase price of the land and what the asking price now is for the completed home.
Right, it's tight.
It's tight. So we'll keep an eye on that.
But you know what struck me, Ryan, is this house. If we go back to the slide, so it goes on the market for $699. You have a lot of people out there who are anti-new construction,
Right.
Because they say builders are coming in and swooping up all these houses in the 6s and even the 7s. But here's a house that went on the market
For 30 days.
for $699, didn't sell,
Right.
got reduced,
Right.
and then still didn't sell to a homeowner. Eventually sold to a builder, and the reason is because Ryan, I mean, it's 2150 in terms of square footage, 5 beds, 2 baths. On paper, it looks great, but the inside of the house was
Borderline unlivable.
borderline unlivable.
So
So,
just-
needed what, $250,000, $300,000?
Goodness more.
Yes. Okay. So,
So, yeah,
it's
so
$1 million house.
Right.
You know, if somebody wants to buy it and have a newer home.
Yeah, to your point, Rob, it's not a house that someone whose budget is in the 6s, that's not a house for them.
No.
So, and I think that's something that gets overlooked, again, to further your point, when you're looking at these homes that you're feeling that builders are pushing certain buyers out of the market, this is not a house that somebody whose budget was in the 6s is going to buy.
Right, but that will be lost on people.
Right. Good point, Rob. Thanks
Okay.
for bringing that up.
You're welcome. 65 Sutton Road is our next listing. This is right off of Dedham Ave, near DeFazio.
Yeah,
Right?
It is. It's actually where Melbourne intersects with Sutton, and that's a street that we haven't had a sale on Melbourne, and every time I'm on Melbourne, I can't wait to talk about Melbourne. So this is the closest that we've come. So I just figured I had to work it in because it's easily my favorite street name in Needham.
Interesting.
Melbourne.
And what's second? Sutton?
I don't know. I hadn't really gotten a second, but this one, it's a big lot, Rob. It's 13,000 square feet, but it's pie-shaped.
Yes, it is. I have that right here,
Yeah,
pie-shaped.
so it's very, very pointy in the back. But you know, this is a street that you're not on very often. I mean, it's not really a cut through. It's convenient to town, convenient to 128, although maybe not this weekend. But you know, I like this deal.
Yeah, not much of a property description.
No.
9 Thorpe Road is the next listing. This is kind of in between Manning and Webster.
Correct.
Yes. We both walked through this house.
We did.
And the first thing that really struck me is it felt really narrow walking through it.
Okay.
But I thought it was priced pretty well, and I guess
So did the buyer.
clearly, I think the market would
Right.
agree with me, right?
Yeah. I mean,
5
talk about
days,
tidy deals.
sells quickly. Yeah, it's clearly that price they nailed it in
Yeah.
terms of listing price.
I mean, definitely convenient to the high school, convenient to Mitchell, and to the Heights. Yeah, I mean, it's a smaller lot, just under 7,500 square feet. But you know, like you said, I mean, this hit the nail on the head. I mean, we could use some cosmetic updates, but you know, really, what house couldn't?
Yeah, true. And it was rented prior to it
Okay.
being sold.
Had a little master bath too, which is nice. I didn't expect to see it. 3 bedrooms up with a little master bath, so that's a nice little bonus.
Agreed. 35 Howe Road. You want to talk about a listing that has been on and off the market since 2005.
Yeah.
It's probably relieved to finally have a new owner, get some love.
Well, yeah, the last owner didn't do too well with it.
No.
I mean, so this was purchased at $650 in May of 15 and was flipped, right? So they did a modest renovation, cleaned it up, put it back on the market, and sold it.
Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, it was sold in 2005, but it was sold for $756. And then 10 years later, the owner turns around and sells it for $650. So that you do not see that in Needham very often. So I mean, I don't know what the circumstances were back in 2005, which made it so attractive.
Right.
But in what was done to essentially, that's just a strong devaluation of a property.
Well, 2005 was kind of a tricky year in terms of real
it
estate
was,
values.
but that shocked me when I looked at that and I saw that somebody lost $100,000 on a house in Needham in 10 years.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes is right.
And the directions involve Great Plains.
Oh.
And so I always think of like that. It's obviously not a town agent, clearly.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they're from the Midwest because my Midwestern parents always call it Great Plains.
It's only one way to find out, Ryan.
Right. You just can't correct them enough. We really can't.
No. Your parents?
Right.
Right. 91 Mary Chilton Road is our next listing. No, all the service over there is underground, right?
Right. And
We love talking about that,
yeah,
don't we?
because there's an agent over there that lists a lot of these homes, and she always works that into the description. So as soon as I saw Mary Chilton, my first instinct was to go and see if she mentioned the power
Underground
lines, and she
service.
did.
Yeah, but kind of interesting. Did you see the disclaimer on this listing that some of the pictures were 4.5 years old? Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, so on the listing sheet it says some of the pictures are 4.5 years old.
Right. And
From when it sold for $615,000 back in 2011.
Yeah, we don't like that.
No.
We like to discourage that practice.
I mean, if you're going to use pictures of 4.5 years old, just
Just use them.
You don't have to tell us.
Unless they have the little date mark at the bottom, then maybe you might have to cop to it. But I mean, if it doesn't, no one's gonna know.
Right. There's
We-
no real estate law demanding that you disclose the age of the pictures that you're putting on.
It also, I think it kind of talks about being like a walk to train.
It's over a mile.
It's 2 miles.
Yeah.
That's you have to say hike to train.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But the reason, and I don't want to harp on the 4.5-year-old pictures, but I feel like the reason they put it is because if you went to the previous listing, you'd be like, wait a minute, these are the pictures from 4.5 years ago. So it really was just designed for the specific people who were able to figure it out, which would have been minuscule.
Right. It's probably only 50% of the people in this room.
Yeah, that's right.
But
One
fine. But again, just take me a picture.
Yeah, I guess. But,
All right.
or not say anything. 119 Gayland Road is our next listing. Would you consider this? This is walk to town. It's got to be less than a mile.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
654 more square feet in the basement. Ryan, I like this listing.
I did too. I thought it was good value for under $1 million, Rob. It was updated, had a lot to offer. You really don't, maybe you do some cosmetic updates again, though we mentioned that, anyone can do that. But it would be by design and by choice. I don't think this house needed anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think good value for under $1 million.
2 master.
Candidate for the deal of the month.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. 2 master suites on the second floor, too. 4 total beds on the second floor. So some good space there.
Mm-hmm.
Over on Nahoyden Street, we have our next listing. It's 151 Nahoyden Street. This is a house that we've spoken about before, Ryan, because it sold last year for $1.095 million. So doesn't do quite as well this time around. Not better than new. And sells for $1,060.
I mean, this Rob, you just nailed it. It basically refutes the better than new argument.
Well, this specific one does.
Okay.
And it wasn't new
Well,
last
flipped.
year either.
No, it was. It was
renovated.
So it was presumably, it's in as new as it's going to be without totally redeveloping it. Someone moves into it, and then for whatever circumstances arise, need to move a year later, and they are not able to recapture that better than new feel in terms of a return.
Maybe it wasn't decorated very nice.
Right.
We don't know.
We don't.
343 High Rock Street is the next listing. Anybody who frequents High Rock probably knows this house. Pretty high visibility. And when I saw that this house sold, well, it sells for $1,075. When I saw that it sold in 2011 for $987.5, I thought to myself, wow, that was 2011?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like that long ago that this thing was built. But that's when it was.
Time flies, Rob.
It really does.
Yeah, this one had an interesting pricing history as well, though. Did you happen to notice that?
Well, other than the fact that it was originally listed for $1,325.
Well, it was originally listed for $1,325, then it was reduced twice, and then it was listed at $1,075. Then poor broker A was relieved of their duties, and broker B comes on board. And then what did broker B do? But they listed at $1,269.
Oh, geez.
So there's clearly a seller is involved in that conversation, but then it again gets reduced twice, and it lands at $1,075 and sells. So if you're broker A, you got to be kicking rocks a little bit. Like, why couldn't I have more of a shot of selling it at $1,075? But
that's just the way it works sometimes.
You're
just a victim of circumstance.
That is the way it works sometimes. But sometimes, like we said, the positioning of the house. That's why we're at 95% of original list if we're not getting these things right out the gates.
Good point. 16 Mayflower Road, we're going to head over to Olin Woods, what some may call the epicenter. This one sells for $115. It was listed for $1.2. Sells pretty quickly, 21 days. I mean, I would think the sellers are happy.
I would think so too, and I think the buyers are happy also. What do you think about the comment, "You deserve to live here"?
I don't love it.
Why not?
Well, because it doesn't really speak. It doesn't give me any information about the house. Number one.
True.
And number two, like some people, if you can't afford it, they don't deserve to live.
Or how about if you don't like it, and then it's saying to you, "Well, I don't care. You deserve." It's like almost like you see it as a punishment.
Right. Like you deserve.
Right.
Oh, right. Like you deserve to go to your room.
Yeah. Well, tough break. You deserve to live here.
I guess.
It's a sentence.
Well, hopefully the buyers don't feel that way.
No, I don't think they do.
Okay.
But it's a prefab house, Rob. Did you know that?
I did.
Okay.
15,000 square foot lot. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you also know that on that side of Mayflower, every lot is bigger than the one to the right of it as you're facing them?
I think that's
On that
that's
side
an
of the street?
interesting fact. I really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Olin Woods,
Info,
fact.
trivia.
Yeah.
All right, good. Anything else?
No, I think I can probably move on.
Okay. Well, we are going to move on to a listing, Ryan, that you and I both walked through. And if I remember correctly, we both liked it.
Yeah. Yep.
It was for whatever reason, the bar was set kind of low for me. And then I walked in, I'm like, wow, this house is pretty cool. And it was on 55 Lantern Lane. And it's in a location that not many people probably are aware of.
You would never go there.
Can we call it Sneaky Walk to Town?
Sure.
All
Oh,
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sneaky Walk to Town.
Yeah. I mean, you're walking down Chestnut the whole time.
Right.
Lantern's located off of Chestnut as you're heading towards like South Street,
Yep.
out of town. And this one, it's a cul-de-sac, which we love.
We do.
And I also like it was like really nicely landscaped. Like there was someone who definitely spent time outside, or at least had a vision for what they wanted their outside to look like, and developed it nicely. Has a nice pool, and then you can tell that they like their landscaping because their whole master bathroom is set up to overlook it, and there's windows, and it's really it kind of the focus is on the backyard, which I thought was kind of neat.
It was nicely finished,
Yeah, it was a well cared for property.
nicely staged. It was just a teeny bit dated.
Right. Yep.
But certainly move into condition.
Absolutely.
And had a lot of things going for it. It was a very unique property, I thought.
Yeah, and even though we're talking about this as if it like flew off the shelf for over asking, it was on the market a little bit too high.
Yes.
So I think even though it took almost 200 days to sell, and it sold for $100,000 less than asking, I think it got a good number, and I think the buyer has got to be pretty happy.
Yeah, I mean, 121. Yeah, that's a good number for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to some new construction. You ready? 12 Heath Street, another house you and I walked through.
Well, we tried to, but you remember what happened when we got there.
Oh yeah, that's right. We walked through the one that was next door on Norfolk.
It's sister home. This one was was on the broker tour, but the doors were locked.
The doors were locked and no broker was home.
So we had the broker tour of the driveway.
Right. So we walked to it, not through it.
Right.
Right.
Right. But we got the gist, seeing its sister home that was also built, same builder, same development. So I think 135 is about where this ought to be.
Yeah. This is Sneaky Walk to Town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is sneaky walk to Junction.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just walk to Junction.
Right.
There's nothing sneaky about it.
True. And it's hard for a train to sneak up on you.
Very true. Close to the tracks. 74 Pilgrim Road is the next listing. This is a house that was built in 2011.
Yeah.
And after it was built, it sold for 1179. So
Who sold them that lot? Was it Rivermac Real Estate?
I think it was Rivermac Properties.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. Now defunct
Yes.
or retired.
Right.
That sounds a little better.
But still holds a place in our hearts.
Always.
This one, interestingly, public record shows the sale price of this house is 1360.
Huh.
So, but this isn't. It's not a misprint. MLS has it at 1365.
Okay. Phew.
Yeah. So, just for those of you who are doing your reconciliation of public record to our show, then we are aware of this discrepancy.
Right. It's like keeping score while you're at a baseball game. There are people who are watching who are on their computers who are looking at their own
Yeah.
listings of these. But
Yep.
good due diligence, Ryan.
And also good. I think a good resale number for this house too.
Agreed.
When you think about like some of the other homes that are brand new selling for 135, like the one we just talked about, this one is been lived in for several years and still getting a pretty good return.
Yeah. The outskirts of Olin Woods.
That's Olin Woods though.
Is it?
Yeah. Right.
Well,
Why? Because you can't walk there from other Olin Woods.
you can't drive there from other Olin
That's
Woods.
what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it ends at Stockdale.
Okay.
But listen.
Sorry, Pilgrim.
Yeah, Pilgrim's close. 46 Border Road is the next listing, and it's time to look at a little bit of Red Riding, Ryan.
All right.
Okay, Ryan, I know. You don't love that this is my deal of the month.
I think you're just attracted to this wide spread between
No.
original list and sale.
No, don't you dare.
All right. Well, so sway me. Win
You know,
me over.
it's funny that you say that, though, because I did think to myself, like, am I getting suckered because this thing was listed for 1699 and
Yes.
sold for
I mean,
1377?
No, of course not.
And I
How
said
could that
no.
happen?
No, I'm better than that. The reason I liked it is this thing went on the market at the perfect time, Ryan. It went on the market in early spring of 2016, okay? It was priced too high when it went on the market. We know that
Agreed.
now, obviously. But I do believe that when this thing went on the market in the spring of 2016, if it goes on for 1499,
Yes.
it goes relatively quickly and it starts with a 1.4.
Okay.
I think what happened was it went on way too high. It got reduced, and then by the time that it got to a price that was attractive, people were wondering what's taking so long for this house to sell.
Yeah.
It's not the spring market anymore. So I think somebody kind of came in and got a pretty good deal on a house that they would have had to pay more had they bought it 4 to 5 months earlier. Okay, anyway, so that's my theory.
I can't argue with that.
Thank you.
Nobody could, because, I mean, how could you ever?
Because I'm not going to let you talk. But and I like the house. I mean, it had a lot of space, 4 finished levels, had a really nice screened-in porch, 16,000 square foot lot, good neighborhood. I mean, it's got a lot going for it. I like it. So I think it's a good deal for the buyer at 1377. My deal of the month is 46 Border Road.
All right.
Okay, 1332 Great Plain Avenue, another new construction home. We are starting to really go from one to the other here in terms of new construction.
Sure.
This one is set behind 1336 Great Plain Avenue.
Right.
And I know we did more than walk to this house. We walked through this house.
We did, yeah. And the country-like setting, as you mentioned, is very country-like, except for the house in your front yard.
You're right.
But it is on the Sportsman Club. It's right on the pond.
Yep. Yep.
And you know, I liked it. I mean, I thought it was a nicely built, nicely finished house. I think you have a Great Plain Ave address, not to be confused with Great Plains, but you're not up on the street. Like, you're not affected really by the street.
Yeah, you're set back.
You're set back, but you don't have really a neighborhood feel. Like, you're not getting trick-or-treaters to 1332 Great Plain.
No.
You may get one, and it's the kids that live right next door.
Right. Right. Not next door. In front
of you.
But and you got the 2 driveways
Yeah.
going up there.
True. Not a big shared driveway fan.
No, but it's not shared. There's a little bit of room in between.
Still, you're collaborating on things like snow removal, and
Right.
I'm sure, but it is what it is. We're very picky over
They keep throwing snow to each other's driveway. All right, next listing, 53 Livingston Circle. And Ryan, now it's your turn to tell us why 53 Livingston Circle is your deal of the month.
Now we got ourselves a deal of the month.
Whoa, that hurts.
Yeah, I don't know. This one it was not brand new. This is a house that was custom built for its original owner, but it was nice, and when you walked through it, it was nice. It was well finished. It's not oversized. I mean, it's 5,000 square feet, so you can hardly call it small. But it fit well in a lot. It conforms very well to the neighborhood. There's a lot of new construction in Livingston Circle. I feel like when this went out in the high 1599, all right, but I think it's worth every bit of the 15s. And it kind of surprised me because it went out in the spring. I think it was May, so it wasn't like this was a summer listing. So I think it just somehow slipped through the cracks. And when you look at it in comparison to, say, a 1332 Great Plain Ave, like, Rob, I'll ask you, for $50,000, which one would you take?
Personally, I would rather take 53 Livingston Circle.
I would agree.
But there are people who really like new construction, and 53 Livingston Circle is not.
It's not right. Is it, dare I say, is it
newer?
No, it's young new construction. It's definitely lived in, and I totally understand from that standpoint. But I think when you consider location, you consider the neighborhood and the features, I just thought that was a deal that was to be had by someone, and it was.
53 Livingston Circle, a lot of activity there the past few years, I feel like, in terms of homes we've talked about. Also, I will say 1332 Great Plain Ave, you can't walk to town from there.
Yep.
Just an observation, because it's
Sure.
less than a mile.
Right.
Anything else you want to say about 53 Livingston Circle before we move on?
No.
Okay, we will move on then to the big seller, Ryan.
Well, hold on. 2 deals of the month for buyers this month. That's a rarity.
Right. I don't know if that's a good sign, though.
Right. True.
Right, that indicates a
Right. Boy,
buyer's
that's a
market.
whole other segment of the show.
Yeah. Okay. 212 Washington Ave is our big seller.
Yep.
So much information about this house, and all I could muster on the bottom there was just 3-car garage.
Well, it's abnormal for that neighborhood. You have to get a special approval for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's not nothing.
No.
A three-car under too. You don't see a whole slew of those houses.
No, you do not.
Around.
How do you feel about garage under, Ryan? Anything you want to talk about with that?
I mean, if I had my druthers, you'd rather not have to go upstairs. Once you get into your garage, I mean, you start to say, well, what would you rather have, a garage under or a detached garage? Then I think you'd rather have the garage under. But it goes with the topography of the lot. It works, but it does mean you're carrying whatever is coming out of your car or to your car up or downstairs. Rob.
Right.
I mean, this is just pointing out the obvious, really.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
But
I didn't even think about that. Stairs.
yeah, unless you're, right. So, but again, it works with that lot, but it also allows you, what it does do is it allows you to have a smaller footprint and get the same square footage on your first and second floors because you don't have to accommodate the garage on the first floor.
Very good.
So that's its primary advantage other than the, working with the topography of the lot.
It's also what I was looking for when I lobbed you that question. All right. Next up is, what do we got next? The listing picture of the month.
And it is a doozy.
Yeah. Everybody ready?
All right.
Here we go.
Yep.
Look at that guy.
That guy. That guy. It's almost as if the listing agent was taking their pictures during the first open house.
Well, it's funny. That's what I was going to say. I don't blame that guy. I blame the photographer.
Of course.
Because that's not like, whoa, you just walked into my picture. I mean, that guy was walking through your picture before you even put your hand on the camera.
And could they not have taken another picture? Were they running out of film?
I don't know. I mean, he does blend in a little bit. Maybe they were trying to.
They didn't see him.
Yeah, maybe.
I
mean, look at the top of his pants lines up perfectly with the top of that table.
But there's so many opportunities not to include this picture in the listing. I mean, you could have not taken it, A. B, you could have taken it and said, oh, I got to take another one, B. And then when you're going through and you're uploading them, to not take it out.
Yeah, I would say the only thing keeping this from being a candidate for listing picture of the year is the fact that he's not wearing his sunglasses. I think if his sunglasses were on, then I think we'd have some groundbreaking.
Yeah, that's a good one, though.
Yeah, it is a good one.
Because it's just inexplicable.
And these are also real pictures that we find.
Right.
That are, hey, this is happening, folks. It's an epidemic.
Right. I'm seeing quite a few rabbits.
Yeah. I saw one on Mayflower
had
listing.
one, but
Yep.
there's the rabbit is becoming a frequent contributor to the listing picture ensemble.
You know what we should start doing is a poll question on the show, and then people have a month to give their answer, and we give it the following month. Like the poll question could be like, do you like pictures of animals on listings?
Are we having a real-time production meeting right now?
Are you more apt to buy a house?
Do we really not have anything to talk about that we're having our offline production meeting on camera?
Sorry, we do. Market snapshot. Let's take a.
We'll cover that later. That's a good question.
Thank you. Market snapshot is how's the market looking as we peer into the future, or at least into the present? And I would say it looks a lot like last year.
Yeah, it looks a lot like last year. And, so this year was pretty good. So if we're running into the really down portion of the year, and it's mirroring, where we were in 2015, and there aren't really any other than the big giant unknown that is the election. Other than that, there aren't any real indicators that the market's going to change. So I think that can be a positive. Everybody can get the thumbs up approach heading into 2017.
Right. So I have a theory, and we'll get to it in a second. Let's just kind of rifle through these numbers. So as you see, the single-family listings very comparable to last year. Average listing price is up. Days on market, that's a little high, Ryan.
It is.
And strangely, the list price per square foot is lower than the average sales price per square foot. We see that every once in a while.
Yep.
And then under agreement, a little bit off the pace from last year, but fine. 53, right. I'll take that number.
Your point is good though. Is noted that the cycle is a little longer. So the days on market, I think to me that's a big one. Yeah. Because it does kind of speak to that like sense of urgency that a lot of buyers have that we've seen a ton in Needham over the past few years. So if you don't have that sense of urgency, then you really have to make sure you're pricing appropriately.
Okay, people want to get a hold of us, Ryan. How do they do it?
Call us, Rob, 781-707-6564, or email us at rob.ryan@hawthornere.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at Hawthorne_WMHW.
Okay, got about 20 seconds, so here's my theory.
Oh boy.
I would say the market hasn't necessarily gone really up or really down recently. It's leveled off a little bit, but my theory is things we're seeing anecdotally are very hot right now in the Cambridges and the Somervilles and the Bostons, the Jamaica Plains of the world.
Sure.
Plains, because it's whatever, Jamaica Plain. Anyway, something tells me when spring rolls around, that's going to spread west a little bit, and we're going to see a good spring market. But we'll see.
I'm excited.
That does it anyway for this month's episode of What's My House Worth. Thanks again for joining us. We will see you again very soon.
Fall back, everybody.
That's right.